Welcome back to the table and a little bit of more board game news this week. And this week there's been a number of things kind of announced, but today we're going to be talking about the Spiel des Jahres. Now, these are games in Germany, but the world kind of looks at these awards as the awards for board games.
It is a weird kind of thing, considering there are some stipulations. For example, the game has to be out in Germany, so sometimes games got nominated from years ago that just got a German reprint, and sometimes games that didn't even come out in the US yet get nominated.
That's more often the case.
It's kind of a balancing act.
Yeah, it is interesting to see them, and there's always a lot of, we always have some opinions. Now,
definitely have opinions.
We're going to share with you all of the nominees, but we're going to talk mostly about the Spiel and the Kennerspiel, not so much about the Kinderspiel, which is for the younger.
But
they're very young. In fact,
I have a 4-year-old that plays games with me, so I have a little bit more interest in that category now than I did before.
Yeah, but my guess is you could play some of the even Spiel games.
Really, you probably could.
Yeah, because they're all pretty. I think the Spiel approaches all of these as being kind of accessible.
Yeah.
Maybe simple to play mechanically across the board, even in the Kennerspiel. But maybe with a little bit more depth there. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with the Spiel.
Yeah, the main, like David said, this whole category is about games that are more accessible, not necessarily super light, but also kind of maybe more family-friendly.
For sure.
Or have a lower barrier of entry. So when you're thinking about the nominees,
you're not gonna see a Vital Lacerda game on this list.
Right. These are the games that qualify. Cascadia won a couple years ago.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like things like Just One.
Yeah.
Things like did Scout win? But you get the idea. Simple games. The first on this list is Dwarf Romantic. This one is from Pegasus Spiel. I haven't played this game on the table, but I have played the PC game. You've played the PC game quite a bit.
Sunk so many hours into playing the PC
game is this sort of chill tile. I mean, in and of itself, it kind of feels like a board game. However, it does do some things that I didn't think would be easy to do on the table.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they've abstracted that.
I mean, the table version definitely it maintains the spirit of the game. It cuts off some stuff for sure.
Has to.
But it's a cooperative game, so everybody's kind of working at the table together to build out this land. And there are, some of the same things you'd expect to find from the video game. You've got objectives you have to complete where you maybe have to make a forest of such a size or a field of such a size. There are a train line that runs through. If you remember in the game, there's a train track. You want to make a long train track. You want to make a long river. And you want to do these things while trying to score the most points, not only from those objectives, but if you remember in the game, you can do specific things that cause a flag to pop up, and then you have to enclose that area. You have that as well. So you have some tiles that need to be enclosed. Every tile that you're playing, just like in the video game, has different terrain on each side that you have to match up. So it is a huge cooperative puzzle, and you're just trying to keep going and build it and fulfill as many requirements as you can.
Yeah, the next one is much simpler, and it's Fun Facts. Now, spoiler alert, Fun Facts is my it's my early pick.
Are we saying that now?
It's my early pick.
I think it has a strong chance of winning, given the audience.
So Fun Facts, we'll explain it in little detail.
You don't need much for this one.
It is in the vein of Just One or So Clover. In fact, it's from those same team.
If they can keep doing this and coming up with a game not that they're the same, but they kind of fit the same weight, the same kind of audience. I like that they're doing one a year.
Yeah, the Fun Facts is kind of it's a trivia game, but you're answering questions about you yourself, and then having to know kind of how you compare to everyone else who's playing, because you're going to be placing those in an order. Again, it is cooperative, so you're trying to, as a group, place your tiles with your answers, which are always numbers, by the way, in order, but you're not, seeing the numbers. You know what your number is, of course, but someone places their tile out there, and you're like, oh, how many Cokes a day do you drink versus me? Oh, I'm definitely higher.
David's at the top. We're going to put it way at the top of the list.
And then the next person's like, I don't drink Coke. I'm definitely at the bottom. But then you flip it over, and if it's in order, then you score more points.
Yeah, everything that's not in order gets wiped out. And yes, the questions are all, like David said, numbers about you. How many hours do you sleep at night? How many movies do you watch in a week?
Yeah.
How many books have you read? Or like all that. And so you should always know the answer because it's about you.
Yeah, I think it's a clever game. I haven't played it, but I do think this is going to, like I said, this is my pick for the win. And we haven't even gotten to the third game.
Well, the third game is Next Station London, and this is kind of a and right style game.
Yes.
Where you're connecting these subway stations across this little map. And again, the benefit of this style of game is that they're always super easy to play. And this is from the same designer as Guild of Merchant Explorers, which was another one that I thought was super easy to play, but had a lot of depth to it, in that a lot of the decisions you're making, the ways that you're scoring points are based on so many different factors. And this is no different. If you look at the map of London, and you're tracing all these different routes, and they're all scoring in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So again, easy to learn, but like very difficult to master. I would say.
And I should know this. Was Guild even on a list
don't think it
last
was.
year, or?
I don't remember if it did not win.
No, it certainly didn't win. I don't know if it was a recommended or whatever,
right.
But I didn't know. Is Matthew Dunstan?
Yeah, Matthew Dunstan,
okay.
That's right. And since you mentioned that, there was a recommended game I want to point out on this list, which was Acropolis, which I was very surprised did not just get the nomination.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me want to play those other games for sure. Acropolis, yeah, and it's pretty accessible. I think
another one that's very
Acropolis
easy to learn.
is absolutely a good candidate for the list.
Well, it did make it on their recommended.
It got recommended. It was just an honor to be almost nominated.
So you think fun facts for that?
Oh, I would be surprised if it's not fun facts.
I want to disagree with you just for the sake of content, but I really think fun facts has a strong chance.
Yeah,
that's exactly the kind of game they're looking for.
I think it's the pick. And then, so the Kenner Spiel, this is what you'd think. In fact, when I first started following it, I thought the Kenner, here's much weightier games. They're really not like significantly weightier games.
But this is the next heavier category.
But it is meant to be the heavier weight games. And the nominees in this one are, and I'm going to start with the one that I think makes the most sense for the category, and that's Icky.
Yeah.
Icky is definitely kind of a light to medium weight Euro sort of game. Now, the one weird thing about this one, in my opinion, is it's a not reprint.
It's a second edition of an older game.
It's a second edition of an older game. So I assume there's some rules and regulations that they got around in terms of maybe there's enough new stuff to where it could be considered that.
Well, it's all new art, and
or maybe it doesn't matter as long as it's just a newly published game.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't really know what the requirements are, but you're right. This is when you think of a heavier game. Icky is definitely like, okay, this is a game that's not necessarily just for families. Like, this is a little bit more of a hobbyist style game. But the other two that were nominated are, I think, more family friendly or like more accessible, which is why I think Icky maybe has the least chance.
Yeah, I would agree. It's almost like it feels like this category is going to be treated this year like just a secondary to the Spiel, but still in that same sort of weight, because one of them is the Challengers.
Yeah, which was a game. I mean, this is one that I think you bring this to like every group get together there is.
I mean, we haven't gotten it played too many times because the game is played best with a large group.
Right. like
I can't remember the max, but
8,
you can play it with 8 for sure.
Yeah.
And part of me, based on my limited experience with it, would also say that I don't know that I'd want to play it at less than 6.
Because you want that big group feeling, because there's Challengers is a series of tournaments that you're playing.
Yeah, you're playing a
1v1,
tournament.
and you're kind of switching up who you're playing against and scoring points and
even
things like that.
Even at 4 would seem like a letdown compared to playing it at 6 players.
You're just flip-flopping. And 6 or 8 players, you get to play against so many different players.
And to say that it's glorified war is doing it a disservice, but to start the description of what this game is, that is what I'll say. You're playing against another player, and if there's 6 players, you're all sitting across from one player and you play a match.
Yep.
They play a match, they play a match, then everyone gets up, changes seats, and the game organizes all that with these cards for different player counts where you're like, okay, now I get up and I'm supposed to play the blue player. Okay, so people are changing seats and playing again, and all the while, you are building the decks that you have, these little decks of characters that you're playing in front of you in war-style fashion. Now, there's quite a bit more to it. There's player powers and like little character powers. And it is actually a very, very interesting game. To me, I'm a little surprised this wasn't a Spiel nominee.
Yeah, this is one that does kind of, I think, walk that line.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Because it is very, very accessible. It's very easy to learn. There is some depth to it. You can get kind of messed up in the way that you're building your deck. And it is it's very innovative, I would say.
It is. It's very creative.
It's very innovative. I don't know who decides which category a game is going to. Like, Icky very much is Kenner Spiel. Like, that is very much. And the next one, Planet Unknown, which is the next one.
I'd say that's Kenner Spiel.
Is also, but if Challengers had been in the regular Spiel des Jahres, I would not have been surprised. I would not have even commented.
No, it makes more sense there. And what I think is going to happen, spoiler alert, I think Challenger is going to win this category.
Because, I mean, of the 3 games, that Planet Unknown and Icky, Planet Unknown, Challengers, it's the lightest of the 3.
Yeah, well, it's the lightest, and I think it's the if I dare say, the spieliest.
The spieliest?
Challengers is a game built
Oh, for sure. It's built for that audience.
To get nominated for the Spiel.
Well, it's
for sure.
quick, it's fun, it plays a lot of players, it has a lot of depth to it, It has a lot of the things that they're looking for.
They checked a lot of the boxes that the Spiel likes with their games.
I would love to see Planet Unknown win. I thought Planet Unknown was great. I thought that was smart and fun, and I love that tile placement. And again, it's not as easy of a teach. I mean, there is a lot, especially if you're using the variable player powers, the variable planets. There's a lot that you might have to teach up front that I think might turn some people off to it compared to challenges, which you can teach in 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's a bit more to it. There's even more, I think, to Icky, which I think is why, Icky.
Icky is one of the, like, you need a player aid to play that. You've got icons all over the place. It is much more, now that's more the style of Euro that we might play on the channel.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily the same audience as what the Spiel's looking for.
So for the Kinderspiel, and I'm going to get my notes out for this one, we've got Carla Caramel.
Yeah, that looks really cute.
Don't know anything about it.
It looks really cute,
I'm assuming it has to do with someone named Carla and Caramel.
Yeah.
Gigamons. Now, Gigamons to me, and I'm judging this only based on the way these looks, this is my pick. There is also Mysterium Kids.
Yeah.
So it's effectively a kids edition of Mysterium. But the Gigamons had this pleasant little look, had a very simple looking game play mechanic in terms of just these tiles or cards laid out in a grid. That would be my pick. But again, I know nothing about those 3.
You're matching them together.
Oh, you looked into it.
I looked into all of them just because I was curious about them. Mysterium Kids I knew about.
Sure.
And again, that seems like a layup. Like it's a well-known game, but I would give it to Gigamons. I think just based on who the target audience is for this version of the Spiel, I think that's a great kids game, even more so than Mysterium Kids.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that's our picks. That's the information on who got nominated. Let us know down in the comments below who you think should have been nominated. If you think all of these were right on, or of these, who you think's going to win.
Yeah.
Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.